especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have LIV. It's
very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when there's this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I relish it. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the Pistol Players, the Hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Wicked Wednesday has begun. We got a full house on the program this evening, and we've got a lot of action coming up on the MLS pitch. And in fact, we got 5 late games tonight, a rarity, but the MLS is a little bit backed up after all these international soccer tournaments, so we got a full slate of action to break down, which we will momentarily. We got NBA Summer League action going on right now as we speak. You can still jump in on these games. The Atlanta Hawks and the Los Angeles Lakers Summer League team, highlighted by, of course, Bronny James in action as we speak in a televised basketball game. The Hawks are currently minus 3.5, and the Lakers are winning 21-20 after the first quarter of play. We should note their number one pick, the number one overall pick of the draft, Ricochet, he's not playing in this basketball game tonight. The Lakers Summer League team is pretty bad, but they are winning by 1 right now, and you're getting 3.5 points, which I wouldn't trust the Atlanta Hawks laying 3.5 points here. So I think the Lakers plus 3.5 could be worth a look. You got the Warriors and the Cavaliers coming up. My gut feel about this basketball game is that it's a higher scoring game. I think they're going to get after it tonight on the Strip in Vegas. So Warriors, Cavs over 176.5. Caitlin Clark, speaking of getting after it tonight, that was the money game tonight, right? You know, you can bet like every game and, you know, and hit like, oh, I'm going to bet 10 baseball games tonight. And some people like have different ways of approaching it. But the way I look at it is usually like every day there's sort of like one money game. It's like, all right, this is the real bet here. This is the real money game. Other stuff is kind of a toss-up. Some of this MLS stuff, kind of a toss-up, like FC Cincinnati losing tonight, unable to get it done against Chicago. Speaking of which, we got a full slate of MLS action going on right now as we speak, and I needed another goal from the Columbus Crew. Instead, Charlotte scores. So right now we got a 1-1 game there, but it's, you know, they're going into the WNBA All-Star break weekend. You got the All-Star game this weekend, which should be pretty cool, actually. The WNBA All-Stars against the U.S. Olympic national team before they head off to Paris. That game is on Saturday night. But Caitlin Clark is an assist machine, right? She can shoot, but she can't shoot every time she has the ball. And she really is she's like the WNBA's Luka Doncic. Like, she can score, but she can pass it. Like, she could do either. And she doesn't really have, many teammates to pass it to either, to be honest. But she set a WNBA record tonight with 19 assists. I got in on the prop. We posted it before earlier today. We took Caitlin Clark over 15.5 rebounds and assists. She had 19 assists tonight. All right, alone. She ended up with 19 assists. So we did well. The game sailed over the number. It was a track meet, which was expected. But we can't sit here now and say, well, you know what, we really should have hammered it. We did. We were hammering this thing in-game pretty hard because you never really know, right, especially when it's a high total, but the game ends up getting there. But as far as tonight's concerned, baseball's off for a couple more days. I don't know why they need to wait until, Friday. How much time do you need off? But I will say baseball's a grind, and once they're back, they're going to be playing every day. I get it. But it's kind of it's a little long, but MLS soccer tonight. There's a lot of games coming up this evening. It's like a West Coast Palooza tonight in the MLS, which I don't have a problem with. Let's start off with the San Jose Earthquakes and the Houston Dynamo. The Earthquakes are really struggling this year. I'll tell you what. The MLS, a lot of these teams have been going over the number as of late. But you've got guys back that were in the Copa. No one was really in the Euro, right? What was there? I don't know. Maybe how many players from the MLS were in the Euro? You know what I'm saying? None. But Copa's a little bit different. So I'm just stating, some of these teams kind of weird. They've been scoring all the time. I found tonight's been lower scoring tonight for whatever reason. But San Jose give up goals, and Houston can score. I don't really see it. I think this game's going to go over 2.5. All right. So I like the over 2.5 in San Jose and Houston. We're going to play a parlay here at plus money. The Seattle Sounders are rolling right now. St. Louis City SC are not. All right. St. Louis are really struggling. The prices come down, actually. The Sounders were 188 earlier in the day. Now I'm seeing a 167, but we parlayed the Sounders with LAFC. All right, so LAFC to beat Salt Lake. I refuse to call them Real Salt Lake. Real. But we're going to parlay the Sounders and LAFC. You're going to get plus 120 on this thing right now. We got plus 117, but the number just came down. So you're getting plus money. Sounders to win on their home pitch. Seattle to beat St. Louis. And LAFC on their home pitch to beat Salt Lake. We have the Vancouver Whitecaps coming up here. The Canucks counterparts, all right? The Lions, Canucks, Whitecaps, they all play in the same area. And tonight, the Whitecaps are back in business. And they're laying, it's up to minus 175 right now. This number has been climbing all day long. The Whitecaps are hot right now. They've won 4 games in a row. They haven't lost in 6. The Whitecaps are a streaky team. You watch the Whitecaps play sometimes, you're like, wow, these guys are these guys are good. You know what I mean? It's wow, these guys are a top 4 team in the Western Conference, and the Western Conference is tough in MLS. And other times you watch them, and it's man, they look like an expansion team. They're very streaky. When they're good, they're good. When they're not, they're not. Right now, they're on one of their good runs. I should note, for whatever bizarre reason, the Whitecaps seem to be better on the road, which is really bizarre because not a lot of teams in MLS. Home pitch matters in MLS. And it's strange because the Whitecaps have pretty good crowds. Right? They got 50,000 people and they lost. They get 38,000 people, they lost. And it's so much so that it's upset people. It's there's only so many times you can get the city all fired up and get 50,000 people there and then lose 3-0 to Austin or whoever, right? So the Whitecaps are strange. Sporting Kansas City have really been struggling, but suddenly they've been on a run over the last couple of weeks. Okay, so KC are playing their best football of the season, soccer of the season. I do think the Whitecaps are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a crazy game. It's going to be 2-1, 3-2. I expect there to be goals. Whitecap games are generally pretty crazy. So we're playing the Whitecaps to win the game. We're going to play over 2.5 in this game, but we got some props here for you in this one. We're going to go over 9.5 corner kicks in this one. The Whitecaps are a very aggressive team on offense. They average like nearly 8 corner kicks a game on their own, and they've been known to give up some corners. That's why it's a little high at 9.5, juiced as well. But we're going to go over the number, over 9.5 corner kicks. And one last one here. I saw an odds boost, Brian White to score the first goal of the game tonight. He's plus 400 to score the first goal of the game, but boosted is plus 450, and it's not crazy. Like the Whitecaps are at home. Brian White is their goal scorer. He's not the only guy that scores, but he's their main guy. Him and Gold are the guys, but Brian White is like lethal. This guy's like the most underrated player in MLS. He scores a lot, and no one really ever talks about him that much. So I did play Brian White to score the first goal of the game at plus 450. All these games kick off in about 20 minutes, so we still have time to get more bets in, come up with some more creative stuff. 28-22 for the Los Angeles Lakers. I like the Lakers plus that 3.5. And in fact, I think the Lakers are going to win this game. Both 0-2 in Summer League play. So countdown to the Open is on. Brady Cannon is out. Christopher Powers is in. From Golf Digest, the Ranger Red Cam Stewart ready to go. George Kurtz is back from the cruise. Let's roll. Bring it.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Live.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
When this wind in this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. It's the Wicked Wednesday. Countdown to the Open is on. Countdown to kickoff is on. We just went over a bunch of MLS picks for tonight's action. We got 5 late games tonight on the pitch. We'll get back to them again, but let's bring in Christopher Powers right now from Golf Digest. The Ranger Redhead Cam Stewart in the house with us as countdown to the final major of the season is on. It's been too long, Chris. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Good to see you, boys. Thanks for having me.
All right. So I know Cam is ready to go for the Open. How many bets have you placed already, Cam, for this tournament?
Over under? Let me just take a guess. What do you think, Gabe? What do you
I'm
think?
going to say you already have 13 to 15 bets in.
I think that's very low end.
That's my guess. Really, it's low.
Yeah, it's very low.
Actually, it's true. It does start like pretty
stuff.
soon. It starts earlier than normal. It does start pretty soon. That's true. So you're in the 20s, 30s,
37.
37.
Yeah, but some of them are $10.
Like that,
some
Chris,
of them are
37.
$10. 10 and 20. You know what I mean? Gabe, like some crazy stuff too, like 45 to 1 parlays for 3 guys in the top 10 and stuff. It's actually light. I've done tournaments before, like at the Masters. Once I think I had 72. Even you had like over double digits. So yeah, it's not like I'm betting $100 per, but yeah, the account's pretty loaded, Gabe. Ready to rock.
Chris, what about you? How big will your portfolio be, including outright winners, top 10s, top 20s, maybe some special prop bets along the way? What's your package going to look like?
Before like an hour ago, that 13 number you mentioned was probably right around a good line, but then I added 3 or 4 more placement bets, typical Wednesday night, 11th hour ads when you've watched all the Golf Channel you can possibly watch and all the other preview content you could possibly watch, digest it all, and then make a few more ads.
Yeah, I talk about that. It's what happened to me before the Kentucky Derby this year. I told myself, I'm just going to – I was like, I'm just going to put like a horse to win, and that's it. I'll be good, have a couple of drinks, and if I don't win, I don't win. And like I said, I'm watching Eddie Olcha. I'm watching everyone. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll get it on this horse at 18 to 1. And then I'm like, I'm going to play this matchup. Like next thing you know, I'm like, God, I got $1,300 on this race. I wanted to bet 100. I wanted to bet 100. And so, you guys, I'm sure, like, it's like anything. It's like the Super Bowl or something right before. I didn't get that tight end prop in. And so, it's a big tournament. So let's start off, actually. I just want to throw I'm going to go through some of the contenders here, and not even so much about their odds, but just your thoughts, Chris, here. Scotty Scheffler. It's interesting to say that he doesn't play his best golf in Europe, right, as far as England and Scotland is concerned, although for him that means he's still like top 25. Right, so he's got 3 T25s here before, but it's not his, you know what I mean, his best courses. It's not his best style. What do you think about Scheffler? Just throwing out the odds, what do you think about his chances? Or is it that, 3 top 25s is pretty good?
Yeah, well, between what you said and there's another strong argument that you could make that he did not play the Scottish Open last week, did not come over and get acclimated. The grass is different here. The bounces are different here. The wind's different. Everything's different here. But you could also make the argument he's well rested. He went on a little vacation with the wife and the new baby. Some people think this Pinehurst Wiregrass thing where it was unpredictable and he didn't really love that. And, he likes to manage his misses. And, I'm not really subscribing to that. It's Scotty Scheffler. You go back to 2016, Henrik Stenson, ball striking masterclass. Who's the best ball striker on the planet right now? It's Scotty Scheffler. He's well rested. We were talking about before, I've got 13, 20. Cam's got 37 bets. We're going to wake up tomorrow. He's going to be like 6 under through 5
tonight,
minutes.
Chris. We're not going to bed. We finished the show and it's on. So no sleep. We're going all the way through.
I like that.
No sleep till Scotland.
No sleep till Scotland.
No sleep. So who do you trust more coming in here, Rory or Scheffler? If you were going to play like a chalk bet, Rory or Scheffler? Because me personally, I said last night, I like Rory. People are sort of put off by him because he hasn't been able to close the door and finish it off. But, man, he's played well here as well over the years. He's won here before. He's a top 10 machine. He's got 6 top 10s like the last 10 times in the Open. So he's going to be in the mix, Chris. I'm buying into Rory more than Scheffler personally.
Yeah, I wanted to just go single bullet on Rory this week, put a bunch of weight on him. I do think he'll be there. Like you said, he's playing kind of like Scotty last year where he's contending every week, top 10s, but the putter wasn't really cooperating and he wasn't getting the wins. And now he's completely flipped that this year and he's, going to go for 6 or 7 wins this year. I think we're going to see something similar from Rory maybe next year, but it could start this week at the Open. I ultimately made a million other bets, but I made a few parlays with Rory like Cam did just to jack up his odds a little bit because I do think he probably will be right in one of the final 2 groups coming down the stretch Sunday. And then it's just going to come down to what he could not do at Pinehurst, and that's make a few clutch putts when he really needs to, because the ball striking will be there. He'll drive it great. He's the best driver on the planet. All that's going to be fine. It's going to come down to clutch putting for Rory McIlroy.
Cam, how do you feel about Bryson, who you could argue is sort of, he's playing amongst the best golf out of anybody right now? When you look at the consistency in these majors this year, I've heard a lot of people say that this really isn't made for him, but at the same point in time, I don't really fully get that. He can crush the ball, and seems like he can play anywhere right now. Are you buying or selling Bryson?
I'm buying, maybe for like in the top 10 and 20 markets.
Oh, did you see his nice gold phone he got, guys? I should have got a picture up of this. You see that, Chris?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I was going to say, you know what? He's kind of cool. And then I saw that, and normally be like, that's pretty sweet. Chris, is that not the tackiest thing you've ever seen in your life? I can understand putting the trophy on the mantle or like the picture, like something like, oh yeah, look, I got this massive picture of me winning. It's like, yeah, check out my legs, Cam. Just keep bust out your gold phone. I check it out. My gold phone when I won. I don't know, Chris. Rub me the wrong way.
He's interesting.
He likes to do things big. He's kind of like Donald Trump in that way. He likes to
kind of likes gold.
And that's typical Bryson.
All right, so we'll get Chris's picks on the other side. See who Cam likes as well. We have a lot of golf picks coming up tonight as the Open set to tee off.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Golf Championships, and now we have Live.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
When this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. So Bryson DeChambeau, 6 appearances in the Open, just 1 top 10. So another player we talked about, doesn't have a great history of playing here. Although now playing overseas, I don't know. Like I said, he seems just to be dialed in and in a zone right now. I'll ask you about your picks here in a second, Chris. But let me throw another guy at you. Any interest for you and/or yes or no why as far as Xander is concerned? Is Xander in the mix for you this week?
He is. Bet him top 5, actually. Like I said, probably about an hour ago. He's just so good. He's such an all-around player. Clearly one of the top 3 players on the planet. in the prime of his career right now, and he's never missed an open cut. So loves playing across the pond. Played Scottish Open last week, so he's pretty acclimated, and was a nice little top 20 finish for him. He'll be sneaking around that top 10 on Sunday, and hopefully we can catch a little top 5 on him.
Gabe, I got the special, and you're going to love it, guys, because you like McIlroy. I couldn't believe this number either. When I was talking to Mayo, it's Rory and Xander, Gabe, to finish top 20, including ties, plus 125. That's
Love
nuts.
that.
Not even a 10.
I'll get
20.
a piece of that.
Yeah, that's plus money. Like, I thought that would be even at best, or like lay 10 cents. So it's a very good special. I'll have some more specials later on in the show. Morency found a few gems.
Cam, you were talking about Morikawa last night. There's a player I wanted to bring up. Colin Morikawa, what are your thoughts on him?
I think Colin Morikawa, next to, like you talked about, DeChambeau and Hatton, is one of the hottest players in the world right now. And Chris can tell you that. He's just been on form, Gabe. The thing is, he just hasn't hit clutch putts. Very similar to Rory. But the thing is, Morikawa is actually, you get better odds with him, and he's really figuring it out. Was right in the mix till the final holes in the Scottish Open. Had just, a little couple stumbles down the line, and let's give Robert McIntyre credit. Like, he went bananas after that break and the drop. But I'm going to say this, Gabe. I think Morikawa can win this tournament. He's on my outright list. And he also, they offered a bet boost on one of our sites that we play on, Gabe. It went from 16 to 18. I found a 20. That is a great number for Colin Morikawa this week.
Unbelievable, Chris. Morikawa kind of flies under the radar. It's hard for the media to cover everybody, but 9 straight top 16 finishes, man. That's unbelievable.
He's awesome.
It's incredible. It almost makes too much sense this week. That's why I'm not on it, but he's playing so incredibly well, and he hasn't had that breakthrough. He won the Zozo. That was back in late fall in the middle of the night. Nobody was watching, so he's trending so nicely. It's similar to a Xander Schauffele when he finally broke through at the PGA earlier this year. Of course, Morikawa already has a couple majors to his name, so he knows how to win these. One of them coming across the pond. So, again, whole world is on him. And from the Twitter I scroll on, it seems like a lot of people are on Morikawa, but I can see why you might see that he's under the radar this week. But, yeah, I think it makes a ton of sense. He'll be there. But like Cam said, he's just been missing something on Sunday. He was in it at the PGA, in it at the Masters, and obviously in it last week. So same with Rory. If the putts fall on Sunday, he's going to win one of these very soon.
Another player that is playing very consistent golf, Cam, and I see him on your list, although it feels to me that he's just like born to be a top 20 bet here, Tony Finau. Right, but can he pull it off and actually win? But another trendy pick this week is Finau.
Yeah, I'm kind of not liking my trendy picks, Gabe. I didn't think people would talk about
it. It is very trendy, Finau.
Yeah,
he is very trendy.
That's the problem. I'm looking at my list going, there's a lot of trendy guys other than
there's a lot of hipsters on your card there.
Too many. I don't want to be a hipster this week. I want guys off the radar, but I will say this, the number for Finau is now 45 or 50. I got a bad number there on one of my books, so I'm going to cash out and buy him again at a better number, which is nice, so you got to do that. Gabe, Tony Finau is actually, I think links golf is really good for him. He has the distance too, like Rory. It's all about the putter. And Chris will tell you this, and it's very important to know, when you're talking about Troon and these other links courses, it nullifies like guys who get hot and cold with a putter. The greens are slower. They run like 11 and a half, 12. They're not like glass. So guys like Finau, once you get the feel for it, it'll help because his issue is consistent putting. His ball striking is impeccable. His tee distance is great, and he usually hits it pretty long and straight. So it's all about the putter. So guys like that, and that'll help Rory this week too. That's one other thing. So I think I like your Rory pick, Gabe, because putting is his problem. He should have won the Scottish Open. His putter was ridiculously poor.
Chris, we got about 30 seconds here. What do you think about Finau this week?
Love it. Cam nailed it. Neutralizes the bad putters. He's one of those bad putters. He should have a bunch of wins on the PGA Tour. He's only got a couple because he can't putt. They roll true over there. You're not going to get little bumps and kind of missing those short ones. So, yeah, I'm not on Finau. I've noticed a lot of sharp people on him, though, so it's not the worst pick in the world.
Sharp.
Hatton's another really trendy pick, actually. You can't talk about the trends this week. All right, we'll get Chris's picks on the other side.
I know, I mean.
one of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Live.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
All right, the Lakers right now and the Hawks are at the half, and they're doing a feature on a Lakers draft pick. It's a white guy. I don't know who he is. I have no idea. I thought they only drafted Bronny James. I'm confused here. I didn't know they had another. Oh, that's right. It's Dalton Knecht, the kid that actually went in the first round, the sharpshooter from Tennessee. All kidding aside, yeah, it's like, oh, they're doing a feature on Dalton Knecht now. It's like they're about 2 weeks in, Cam, right now. It's like, all right. We're, you know what I mean, Chris? Like, all right, we're out of Bronny stuff here. Let's finally do that Connect interview there.
Great point by you
didn't
too,
show yet.
You saw that thing there where they're like, what you said, you got to put your hand over your mouth. Like, Bronny James is not an NBA player playing in the G League. Like, you know what I mean? I saw that clip, and you
yeah,
you
that's
saw
why
it.
when you see quarterbacks
Yeah.
after football games all cover up when they talk to each other, because they know the internet is evil and we can read their lips.
Yeah, we heard it all.
That was awesome. It was his face though when he said. He looked over. He's like, Bronny ain't a pro. He shakes his head. He's like, awesome. He ain't a pro. And then, like, just the way he said it was like not mean. I like the girl. She's like, well, he'll be in the G League, which that's what I was. And then he drops, because of his last name, he'll be on the Lakers. And then he just looks for
It was hilarious.
I love it. Jaylen Brown telling it like it is behind the scenes. Yeah. That's like a real sort of. He's LeBron's kid. He'll be on the Lakers. Like, but yeah, you got to cover up. Actually, I'll ask you, Cam, then Chris first. What do you think of Monty coming back from yesteryear and taking pot shots?
You know what the thing was though? Monty's right, and I think a lot of they took that out of context a little bit. Like that's the thing. Like Monty always gets set up. I'm a Monty guy now.
You're right.
They used to call him turkey tits.
Yeah, he wasn't mocking. He wasn't mocking him.
No, it's honestly like this, Chris. Like the American guys, like Monty's got thick skin. They used to call him "you fat pig," "you turkey tits." Go back to Scotland. You like they hate it, and he's just, hey guys, like he said it true. But also the media set him up, and Tiger's like, I don't know, Monty, I got exemption until whatever. It's like he didn't mean it like that, man. It's like there's a lot of guys that probably shouldn't.
Tiger's comeback. Like, he goes, well, unlike you, I actually have an exemption, and I can decide whether I play or not.
That was pretty mean.
What'd you think, Chris?
It's just the mic drop culture we live in. Everything's got to be a mic drop. Cam's right. We've had Colin on the pod. He's an unbelievable interview. I guarantee you the way he said that quote was like kind of like in a funny, like, upbeat way. Like, Tiger, just, just retire.
It's like saying Mike Tyson shouldn't fight Jake Paul. It doesn't mean you're mocking him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
And he
saying,
said it
sorry.
funnily, and they make it all serious, and they tell Tiger, "Ooh, you hear what Monty said? It's BS, Gabe. That's the problem we live in society."
Tiger waited at home all week thinking about the best comeback too. That's it. He was like, "All right, this is what I'll go with." Like, you know what I mean?
I got you, Monty.
All right, who do you like, Chris? This week, who do you like?
I love Tyrrell Hatton. He's 28-1. Part of the reason I love it so much is that number. Kind of scrolling last night, and that was the best value I felt on the board. I don't care how you feel about live results. Hatton has them. He has played well over there. He won Live Nashville after he contended at the U.S. Open. Then he comes back after almost a month off and finishes third at Valderrama. He missed his first 4 British Open cuts to start his career. The first cut he made was right here at Royal Troon in 2016, and he tied for 5th that week, of course, like 10 or 12 shots back of Stenson and Phil. But positive vibes, if there's such a thing with Tyrrell Hatton, he's got some positive vibes coming into this week. So played well at the Masters, played well at the U.S. Open, like I said, and he's a 2-time winner of the Alfred Dunhill Links, which is an event where they multiple links golf. So he knows links golf quite well and has had some success on it. So 28-1 for a guy who's kind of knocking on that door in major championships. I love Hatton this week.
Finishing a top 5 here, Cam, in 2016 as well. So I like the Dunlap reference as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, Gabe. Like and the thing is, people don't understand.
He's gotten better at the Open over the years.
Yes, and another thing, these live guys play all over the world. It's not the PGA
I like that
Tour.
angle,
they
exactly.
play in more events. Like, people aren't talking about that. Like, oh, they play 3 rounds. Yeah, they're also playing in Dubai, different courses, doing different things. I think Hatton should be about like literally 20. 28's a great number.
Yep.
I got a question about another live golfer, but I'll ask you who else you like first, Chris. Who else should we be taking a look at?
I am on Cantlay at 45-1. I think he's kind of flipped it around with that strong performance at Pinehurst and then backed it up at Travelers. And then I'm totally suckered in by Adam Scott's performance last week. I'm all over that. We talked about bad putters before. Adam Scott's a very bad putter. Kind of missing that second major on his resume. He gets a second one. Maybe we're talking about a Hall of Fame career. He's 44. Got to be feeling like this is his last good chance. And old guys, this is kind of the one major they can still hang with the big boys. And then my last play, 70-1, along with Adam Scott, is Cameron Young. Very sneaky Cameron Young, back-to-back top 10s. And we know he's been incredible in the majors in very limited starts, including this one where he's also had back-to-back top 10s.
Plays better in links. He actually should be like on the live tour, Gabe. This guy actually he came second when Cam Smith won and stuff like that. He was amazing. Like, it's weird. Cam Young is a guy that like plays really good in these type of courses. Like, one guy on the live tour that I have zero faith in, and he went to the live tour because he didn't really care about playing golf, and as he stated, it was a job to him. And if you got paid more to work less, wouldn't you do it? Is Dustin Johnson. What to me, plus 120 to not make the cut, Chris. What do you think of that? I say DJ does not make the cut, and if it's bad weather like everybody's talking about, this guy will hate it, not even want to stay there. His wife won't be able to show off and walk around and like take cool pictures. Yeah. Dustin, why don't you not make the cut? It's not sunny here. Let's go. I got no faith in this dude, bro. Plus 120. DJ doesn't make the cut. What do you think?
This further feeding into that is the worst weather day. I know Cam mentioned it in Scotland. It changes, but
he tees off in it, right? His timing, right, is right in it, huh?
Yeah. Saturday is supposed to be an absolute downpour. It's like 100% precipitation. So I totally agree. I could see Dustin Johnson looking at that and being like, let's get the hell out of here. And, you know, you talk about all these live guys, they've checked out. A lot of them obviously have not. They've contended in these major championships. He is the one who has 100% checked out. And I think even he would tell you that if you asked him point blank.
Yep. Cam, remember even years ago when he was sort of in his prime, I always questioned his competitive nature. He's one of these guys like, bro, you have talent to win like 8 majors if you actually cared. Yeah. And I never understood how being around Wayne Gretzky never rubbed off on him, Cam. Yeah. Like, you're around an ultimate champion. It can sort of tell you, hey, listen, like, you know what I mean? Like, to sort of guide him. He just doesn't care. Point blank.
Know what it is? Know what it is, Gabe? It's like you in radio, like you have a passion for it all the time. He was actually the best player in the world. And Chris Powers will tell you this. He won and won and won, and he was destroying guys. And he kind of reached a point when he got with like Paulina and everything. It's like, you know what? My work is done. He just didn't want to like be like Jack, like Tiger, like those guys. You know what I mean? Like he was satisfied with his portfolio.
Yeah.
And good on him. Like the thing is, he has played well in the Open Championship before. He's got length, but I just don't. Yeah, I'm with you guys.
Not a
His
bad
mental
guy.
game,
Probably wakes
No.
up and thinks, you know what?
No,
I
he's
have
a good
more
guy.
than I ever dreamed in my life. I got $180 million. I'm married to Paulina Gretzky, and I'm rocking. But, all right, you could have $1 billion, I mean, and a bunch of trophies. You know what I'm saying, Chris? Like, you could have more.
It is amazing. It's an all-time great career that he's had. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, and it is also an all-time what-if career. I've had this argument with people on social media. I think he should have legitimately six majors, and I can make a case for 4 of them off the top of my head right now.
I'm going to bet it, Cam. I like this. Dustin Johnson not to make the cut, plus 120.
Yeah, you know what? I would have to agree. He does. The thing is, he does have the length, but if things start to go sour for him, he's not the type of guy that can grind, and things will go sour for a lot of guys in Scotland. That's not his strength. So I would agree.
Any matchups or props or anything, Chris, on the way out here that you like?
If you want to get really crazy, I like this amateur Dominic Clemens a lot. You can get him at 20-1 to finish inside the top 20 on DraftKings. This guy won a tournament in Scotland last month by 17 shots, professional tournament.
Amazing.
He's still an amateur. He's transferring to Alabama because Alabama wants him very bad. So love Dominic.
Nice.
NIL getting everybody. Thanks,
Yeah.
Chris.
Later, Chris.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50-year-old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Live.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when there's this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
Thanks to Chris Powers from Golf Digest for joining us on the program. I am Gabriel Morency. This is SportsRage on the SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM, Channel 159. So we've got the Open Championship countdown is on. So, Cam, you mentioned this is an all-nighter for you, right? You can't go to sleep before the Open starts.
No,
So
I'm
you're just
happy,
going to start
Gabe, that we
watching
had
it
the
and
late
then,
night
then
tonight.
drift
Yep.
off like my grandfather used to watching golf on Sundays.
Yeah.
He'd start
Two
watching
Scots.
it. Drive me crazy when I was a kid. And yet there was no remote control when I was a kid, right? So we'd be sitting there, and people were like, yeah, no remote control. There's no remote control. I used to be get up and so I'd be watching. I remember I was watching like a Philadelphia Eagle game. I'm a kid. They're playing the Bills. And I'm like watching the game. My grandfather comes in and just goes, he goes, we'll put it back in a couple of minutes, but got to watch the golf. And I remember it was like the TPC, like the floor whatever thing. And I was like, God, this is awful. I was just right in the middle of this game, man. But he would always nod off, and I'd get up and I'd put it back to the football game.
Yes,
and then he would get up all mad and put it back to the golf, and he would nod off. It was like a tug of war. So it was fun. It was one of my memories. A tug of war with him back and forth. He'd fall asleep, I'd go back. But we got some overnight golf. We got Paul Bovey in the house as well. Maybe Paul, you never know what Paul's got up his sleeve. Maybe he's got some open picks for us. Maybe he's betting on the British Open, the Open Championship. What's up, Paul?
Well, listen, guys, I tapped out on Tommy Fleetwood last week. What can I tell you?
I'm taking him again this week. I'm taking him again.
Then I tell people he plays 3 great rounds, and that's what he does. This is Tommy Fleetwood, but a lot of people like him to win this week, Paul. That's the thing. When everyone's off him, Gabe, this could be the week. He always plays well at the Open Championship. Always.
Thing is, Paul, it's hard, these golf terms. Like 140 guys in a tournament, man. Like, you know what I mean? So you pick one.
I'm done with Tommy.
That's what people do in MMA fights. People do it in MMA. They bet on a fighter, and if the fighter ever loses, they're like, oh, he got knocked out when I bet on him once. It's like, yeah, the guy's fighting 25 times. He got knocked out once. Like, that's Paul's like, yeah, Tommy Fleetwood. No. And he holds it against us. You only listen because Brady liked it. Don't blame me.
Yeah, that was Brady. Yeah, we were. You get Brady's case.
Well, I went 2-0 at the brass rail, and I struck out there too. So what can I tell you?
You should have told him you were buddies with A-Rod. That would have helped there more than saying you know me.
You know Gabriel Morency.
Yeah. All the good clubs in Toronto are by the airport, but that's another story.
Yeah. I'm leaving.
One of the best
tomorrow.
names ever for
any good right.
Well, you know what? You're going to be by the airport. One of the best names ever. The Landing Strip. Great name for a club.
Okay.
Yeah, remember we brought Scooby-Doo there, Gabe?
Right.
Not Wild Nights. The wrestlers were there. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, Paul, that's where you got to go.
Yeah, it's outside city limits. Well, Toronto could be a little bit uptight, so they figured, we'll go. It's like outside city limits. So Paul's adventure is winding down, but never really ends. We got NBA Summer League right now, 54-49 for the Atlanta Hawks over the Los Angeles Laker team. Midway through the third quarter of play, the Summer League continues, but the WNBA game tonight was just lit with the Dallas Wings and the Fever. Caitlin Clark set an all-time WNBA record with 19 assists. Game sailed over the number. We did very well with the props in that game. We're not doing so well with the MLS. We're kind of battling, but we got a bunch of late games here. But, Paul, I'm starting to fire away on my future bets. College football. I've been really focusing in on a lot of college football. And I've got like seven win totals in front of me right here that I've been working on today. But we've also been talking NFL football. And I'm not a big I don't watch Hard Knocks in the sense that, Hard Knocks is coming on. I got to sit down and watch it. But I'll watch the clips after the viral clips that come from this stuff. And I got to tell you, man, the giant front office, bro, it's coming across like the other office in the country right now. Like, it's almost like, dear God, like to actually hear like just what's going on in there. So first, for everyone on Hard Knocks, the Giants are on Hard Knocks. For whatever reason, they allowed the Joe Shane, the GM of the Giants, phone call to Saquon Barkley be broadcast. And he couldn't have been more disingenuous. And you could tell Barkley didn't like him. You know, Joe calls him. He's like, hey, Saquon. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, it's Joe. And he's like, yeah, I know. How you doing? And the way he said it was like, we think it's best if you just test the market out there. But we really love you. But and then, I want to thank you for everything you've done for the Giants. But we hope, test the market. We hope that you come back, but I want to thank you for everything you've done. He could have been more disingenuous. And then at the end, he goes, but can you call me and tell me what people offer you after? And then he said, can you give me your word? He goes, can you give me your word? And Saquon said, give me your word on what?
What?
And he goes, no, I can't do that, Joe. And it was like just this cold phone call. So that was one thing. So, but the thing is, then there was the subsequent thing after where they're all in the room and the head of pro personnel, the one smart guy in the room, says sarcastically, okay, fine. So we don't re-sign Saquon. What do we do? And Joe goes, what do you mean, what do we do? He goes, what do we do to replace our best player? Right? And he goes, that's the pro personnel director, Cam. He goes, Saquon is our offense. He goes, so what's the plan if he leaves? How do we move the ball? And then Joe Shane says, we're not paying Daniel Jones $40 million a year to hand off to a running back. Okay, so you think that Daniel Jones is going to say this. Wow. And then just the last one, and Paul's a Giant fan, so I bring it up. And the last one is the latest clip was John Mara, the owner of the team, in the room telling Shane, I don't want to lose Saquon. He's our most popular player. He thinks like an owner. He said he's our most popular player by far. He's the player the only one that anyone likes. And he's like, and then he even dropped, if he goes to the Philadelphia Eagles, I won't be able to sleep at night. Those were the words of Mara on tape cam to Joe Shane. And get this, Joe Shane tells him, don't worry, my sources say the Eagles don't want him. Like how... Like if I'm Mara, I almost want Shane's head on a platter and go, he ended up in Philly, you son of a bitch. Paul Stops on the other side.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Live. It's
very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
When this wind in this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this is one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
Countdown to kickoff is on. We got MLS soccer going on right now, but we're just talking about the New York Giants and some of the clips that are coming out from Hard Knocks. And just the one of the biggest things to know what your opponents are up to. Like when the Bears traded up to get Trubisky, when no one was going to do it. It's like no one else is taking him, so we don't have to trade up. But for Joe Schoen to actually tell the owner of the team, my sources say the Eagles are out on Saquon Barkley, and he says if the Eagles get Saquon Barkley, he's our most popular player. I won't be able to sleep at night. And then Saquon Barkley is now a Philadelphia Eagle, Paul. What I don't know if you see these clips and stuff, and listen, it's only training camp, and Saquon's one of these guys that always is ready to have the season of his career, etc., right? But he looks good. Word is they have him as a massive part of the offense in Philadelphia, and he's got a massive chip on his shoulder. Like, he hates Shane. He hates the Giants now. Tiki Barber's running his mouth. Giant fans are trolling him on Twitter. You guys are poking the wrong bear. He's going to run all over the Giants. I got no confidence in the Giants, Paul. I'm just calling it like it is. I think the Vikings beat them in the season opener. Game's nearly a pick 'em. Giants -1. That's my hot take I'm going to throw at you. Put that under your pillow.
Okay, so I went into this last. Okay, I will. And listen. Okay, so
there we go. Whoa,
I'm going to come to the defense of the Giants. I'm going to come to the defense of the Giants because they made some good signings. They lost their safety, which I didn't like, to Green Bay, but they did get the offense shored up, and I think that's going to help Daniel Jones quite a bit. Plus, the drafting of the receiver Neighbors, I think they'll be much more potent on offense. But I have been a Giant fan going back to the 60s, and we have gone through some horrific stretches. I can tell you that from 1970 to 1982, the team went like 84-156. Bill Parcells.
You're a loyal fan. You're a loyal fan. And you know what? It's funny you say that because there's so many New Yorkers, and I'm talking to you, George Kurtz, is coming up next on the show. There's so many New Yorkers that they die for New York and the Yankees and the Rangers, Knicks, and all this type of stuff. But, I'm a Cowboy fan or I'm a this fan. And you know why it was? Because like Paul just said, the Giants absolutely sucked in the 70s, right? So
they were horrible.
They were horrible. Like you can't even like name any of their players. They didn't have any good players ever. They were down in the Giants. They were never even on TV even.
I could tell you the coaches, Ollie Sherman. We had to deal with him. Okay, Alex Webster. Then Ray Hanley for 2 years, and that was into the 90s. They have gone through some absolutely brutal stretches.
Joe Judge.
Parcells did. Joe Judge rescued the team.
Yeah, some real losers,
but I'm going back to the 70s, and I can remember sitting in that stadium and just watching the drubbings that the George Allen and Tom Landry led teams and even Vince Lombardi led teams laid on the Giants. But fortunately, we did have some success recently, but it's still this organization to me has pedigree, and the pedigree is not very good. But hopefully we're going to see some better things out of the Giants last year because straight out of the box, that Dallas nationally televised game in week 1, which I think landed 40-0 or something like that, that was absolutely embarrassing. But I am a Giant fan. I stick by him, and I look for things to get better. It's funny you mentioned the Maras because the Maras are part of the problem because Wellington Mara was always – his reputation was that he was extremely cheap, and that's why the Giants really suffered during the 70s and into the 80s. They just didn't want to pay anybody.
The thing is, though, like you said, I don't know if the Maras, they're old school. It's like the Hunt deal. They're old school. I get it. It just seems like it's the bad hires. I'm not saying they're bad people, but the constant bad hiring from Gettleman to Joe Judge and, all these different, the coaches they've gone through. Shermer was a train wreck there to some of the decisions that they made. Look, Micah Parsons, I'm not saying he's Lawrence Taylor. Like Bill Belichick said, there's no other Lawrence Taylor, but Parsons would have been a great New York Giant. They could have drafted him. They didn't. They had character concerns because he got in a fight in high school once. Like, they're idiots. And so they didn't take Micah Parsons. They took Kadarius Toney instead, even though they had character concerns about Parsons. Who was the kid? Remember, Paul, a couple years ago, their first-round draft pick, Baker out of Georgia. Kid ended up holding up a poker game and pulling an AK-47 on people. Great job with your character,
you got a
guys.
flush? Yeah,
like, for a team that's in a character, you guys, you get her, Malik Neighbors, Cam, already. The guy's like, there's a video of him in strip clubs in New York throwing thousands of dollars in a year. He hasn't played a game yet.
What, they
It's
got
like, oh, God, you guys, man, like.
problem.